Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do kind of a different video. I'm going to try to do something kind of seen other booktubers do about comfort reads and stuff. I'm just going to talk about the favorite books, my favorite books that I like to reread a lot. Again, as you guys know, I'm a very big rereader. I read at least 1 or 2 books a month, a reread. I have always been a rereader, and I will continue to be one, even though I have hundreds of books I have not read yet. There is something for me to reread and to go into that world again that I know, and to me that is a comfort. And so right now I am drawn to rereading due to world events. I still want to read other new books. There are other ones calling me, but I have a strong drive that when my mind is too occupied with other things, and to do a reread where I don't have to focus quite so much word per word. You know, I get the gist of it because I've read it before. That's kind of, it just helps me a lot to get, and usually that helps me want to read new books again. It's usually something I use as a kind of a palate cleanser. A lot of people, you know, do that, I think. So anyway, I'm gonna go through, I have quite a few genres again because I'm pretty all over the place. The only thing I did not grab is nonfiction because I find that I do not reread nonfiction very often. I probably could have shown you Helter Skelter by Vincent Villagossi and Kurt Gentry because I have actually reread that one at least 3 or 4 times. But it's, you know, it's spaced out, and it was probably the only nonfiction one I had that I've actually reread that I could think of. So, I don't know. So, yeah, nonfiction is not something I reread very often. Clearly. So I'm going to go through a lot of different fiction. So let's just jump in. So I have a couple of historical fictions that I like, a couple of series, and so and then author of standalones. So one of my favorite authors is Jennifer Ashley, and I have to say I binge or reread a lot of her series. She also has Shifter urban fantasy or Paranormal Romance series I like as well, but I really enjoy her historical fictions. The Mackenzie McBride series, I have reread multiple books. I'm still behind 3 books that she's published in the last few years, but I'm gonna catch up on those. But I love rereading the first book, The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie, and several of the other ones in this series. They are 1880, I think, the time period. Yeah. And so I really, really enjoy them. And I said I've reread them multiple times. I even have this one on audio. I got it on sale one day, I guess. But anyway, so I do reread her quite often here and there because I love the series and all the characters. Of course, it builds the series. So it's one of those series feels where, you know, you get to see the other characters that were in earlier books, and then I pick up their book and go back. Anyway. And then she has an older series. Oh, actually, I don't even know what the series is. It's like a trilogy. And, oh, I don't remember if it was, I don't think there's I can't remember if there's a series name. I actually don't remember. But this is Penelope and Prince Charming. And so it's it's also yeah, 1818. So this is more Regency. So, I think that's what it... Anyway, so it's really funny because there's actually a trilogy that comes before this that's kind of connected. But anyway, but again, she's one of those characters I like to, books I like to read. These are all historical romance books. This one has to do with a woman who, you know, her mother is technically the one the prince comes to marry because she's a widow. And she's kind of old for him, really. And of course, then he and the daughter are more attracted to each other. And he's the prince of somewhere. I don't remember what country or whatever it was. It was like a made-up country. And then the next 2 books are the Duke, I think, of that place. And the book is called The Mad Duke. I love that book. And then the third one is their friend who's a Scottish Highlander. So we get to go to Scotland in the third book. And it's just a cute historical romance, but I have reread these multiple times. And as I said, there's a series that comes before this that some of those characters pop in. I think the first book in that series is the The Pirate Next Door, and those are cute. I don't have them physically though. I've never found them physically. I have them only on ebook. But anyway, so Jennifer Ashley is definitely one of those readers or books that I pick up and reread in several of her series. So that's one. And then as a historical romance fiction, it's kind of a cross. I would say these more in kind of gothic too, are Victoria Holt novels. So all of hers are standalones. They're all mostly about a young woman, and a lot of times you'll get her early life and then, you know, what happens later and how that's connected. The India Fan is my favorite of all of them, and I'm planning to do a reread of it this week. Anyway, so so this one has to do with like a girl who is attached to the Lord's family, the family that's like in the town called Framing. And she's connected to the family due to her relationship with the daughter, and also some things that happened when she was a kid with the son, and then as they grow up, and the things that happen. And this is, again, one of my favorite books of all time. But a lot of her books are pretty short. This is like 400 pages, and it just looks bigger than I think it is. It reads really fast. And she has so many, like, dozens of books. I don't remember how many there are. But I've read like all of them when I was a teenager because they were fun. They usually have mysteries in them. There's some mystery element to them. There's the romance element. There's historical, again, most of them take place in, well, they take place, they usually have some kind of link to England, and then there's, they are an exotic location usually at some point. Not all the time. Some of them are just all in England. But I really enjoy those for historical fiction. So then mysteries, I want to bring up Elizabeth Peters. I have reread Crocodile on the Sandbank, the first book in the Millia Peabody series, probably a dozen times. I really want to reread this again. So after, I think this will be the next series that I pick up to reread after I finish my reread of Bill Kreider. And the only reason I'm not showing his book on this, I'll just show this right here. The only reason he's not really on here is because I've never reread his books. But Elizabeth Peters are the first 5 books I've read several times. And then I've never, like, I got 8 or 9 books. Maybe I got even 10 books in. I don't remember how many books I got in. And I don't know what it was. I got quite a few books in. And then I got to one of them and I got stuck. And I don't remember if it was a library book or not. I didn't have it. And then I just never finished the series. And then, and again, I said, I want to get to the point, read all the books that Elizabeth Peters wrote. And I just haven't done that yet. So, and I've read a lot of her standalones as well. My favorite of her standalones is Summer of the Dragon. And this, I believe this is the 70s. Oh, but it's so funny. Yeah, 79. And it has to do with an archaeologist who gets called out to this rich man's area where he has like all these different people working there. They're doing different kinds of digs and other things. Like he's kind of an eccentric, and at this ranch, and she's there to help him. He tells her she has this thing. He thinks he's found something, and then something I don't remember if he goes into he has a coma or something happens to him. And it's been a while since I reread this. I want to reread this right now. And then something happens to him. So she doesn't know what he discovered because he was so excited about it. And he didn't get to tell her. And then she and one of the other archaeologists there, but they are trying to find out what he found. And then there's like a mystery because something happened. Anyway, so I really love this mystery too. Summer of the Dragon is my favorite of her standalones. But Millia Peabody, which I didn't really explain, is, it's all 1880s, I swear. I don't know if they tell me. I don't remember. It's 1880s, 1890s, and it has to do with a spinster who inherits money from her father, so she decides she's going to go travel, and she decides to, travel in Europe, and she goes to, I think Italy. I think she stops in Italy, and then she picks up this person who looks really down and out, and she picks her up and then has her travel with her to Egypt. And then it's all mystery of things that are happening there while she's looking at, because she's really interested in becoming an archaeologist, but again, she's a woman in 1880s or 90s, I can't remember, but anyway, and I love this series, and so I said I really want to reread that. So sorry, I'm really talking a long time. Again, another mystery is Mary Stewart, another from the 1960s and 70s, I think. Oh no, 50s and 60s. Sorry. So like two of my favorites that I've reread multiple times are My Brother Michael and The Moon Spinners. Now, some of you might know the name of The Moon Spinners from the movie with Haley Mills. Nothing alike. I mean, maybe the setting, but the book is so much better. There's so much more to the mystery. There's so much, it's just so funny too. I love Mary Stewart for books that she does, books that usually in a well, I would say an exotic location, but you know, a location I've never been to, and it's the characters going there for travel or meeting up with family or something, or like these two are both, they're traveling and they're there for a vacation and things, they get kind of caught up in a mystery, something weird happens. And My Brother Michael, she's sitting at a cafe trying to decide what she wants to do next on this vacation, and this guy drops keys off and says, here, this is the car that you wanted. And she was like, I didn't rent a car. And he just like doesn't care, and he leaves the keys with her. So she has a car rental. So she's like, well, I'm going to go see Delphi. And so she heads off, and so it's all the mystery of who rented the car, and because the person was supposed to go to Delphi, I think, and who rented the car, and then what happens when she gets there and who she meets. And I love that book. Some people think this is one of her more gory ones, but I still love that one. I don't know why anyway, I don't remember, but I love that book. I can't wait to reread it. I'm reading these in order, so I'm not going to get to these for a little while. But The Moon Spinners, again, is, I think, on Crete. Yes, and her, Nicola goes, and she's there, I think with her, she's supposed to meet up with her aunt, but she arrives a day early, and things happen when she goes kind of exploring before she goes down to the hotel, and then what happens at the hotel, which is interesting too. So I just, oh God, I love those books. I want to reread all these right now. And then let's talk about some urban fantasy. So, I only got really one urban fantasy. I realized that, wait, hold on, where's that book? Sorry. Well, yeah. I have a kind of, I split up my urban fantasy, paranormal romance, and romance. So, but I'm just going to bring these two up. So the first one is Written and Read by Anne Bishop. Now, I put this on the list because this is the newest addition to my rereading. I've reread the first 4 books after I just read them last year. I'm already looking forward to reading the 5th book and then restarting the series again. So this is a 5-book series, and there's a continuing series, another series that's connected that I have not started yet. But this 5-book series is one of my new favorites, and definitely on my rereading list now. And this one has to do with shifters and others, or others and humans, and they're fighting for territory because the others control the land in North America. And it's and it's also about this place called the Courtyard in New York that is where a woman shows up very much in the middle of winter with clothes that are not winterized. She's not dressed appropriately, and she brings trouble as well as brings the community together. And it's very much a book about community, and I really, really enjoy that series. I've raved about it many times. And then another Soulless by Gail Carriger. This is the first book in the Parasol Protectorate series, and I've reread these books as well. She has many offshoots from this world, but the core 5 books are my favorite still. Soulless I've read and so many times I can't tell you. It has to do with Alexia, who is considered soulless or preternatural, and she can if she touches someone who is supernatural, like there are werewolves and vampires in this world, they will revert to human while she's touching them. So she kind of cancels out the supernatural element. So they're all kind of wary of her. She's a spinster and really wants to do something with her life. She feels kind of trapped, and then weird things happen that brings her together with some other really cool characters. Anyway, and that book is just so funny. It's steampunk, and it's London. I think that's also like, I don't remember what year it's supposed to be. It's, it's like, I would still say it was like late 1800s. Anyway, I love that series. Anyway, and then some fantasy. Of course, I'm going to bring up Tad Williams. I've read the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy several times. If you really want to deep dive into something, to me that's always been a comfort read, is these, because these are some of my favorite characters of the time, which is why I love the continuation, The Last King of Austen series, where we have 2 books. I'm waiting for the 3rd. But the core 3, Dragonbone Chair. Oh, my brain! I can't believe I just my 2 Green Angel Tower is the 3rd one. And Stone of Farewell is the middle one. Sorry. I don't know why that blocked out for a minute. So, but anyway, these are comfort reads, as in, because this world, yes, it's a dense, it's huge fantasy, but I have enjoyed returning to that. But if I want a really quick fantasy to read, which last year I did reread the first 5 books in a over 10 book series, is David Eddings and the Pawn of Prophecy. So this is the first book to the second set of books, which is the next one I'm going to reread. But I read the first 5 books that came out in the early 80s. I can't remember when the second set started coming out. It's actually kind of interesting. 87. So by the time I finished, I discovered these series. They were about 2 or 3 books into this series, and so I had to wait for paperbacks. It was one of the first series I had to actually wait for books, because I read so much backlist back then. But this is like really classic, very light fantasy. I would say is a great place for some people who are not really big into the big epic ones, like the really thick and takes a lot of time. But these ones are just, I love the characters. They're funny. It's not super heavy. I mean, there are good themes in here too, and I like as I said, I like the characters, and I reread the first 5 books just last year, and now I'm gonna read these ones this year at some point. Anyway, so those are good too. And then romance, or so there's different genres of that. So a paranormal romance series, the Argano series, vampire series by Lindsay Sands is hilarious. I've reread at least the first 5 or 6 I've read several times. I was doing a reread of this when I started my channel, and I never got back to it. So I think I'm on book 10, and I just haven't reread. I think I need to reread that one before I can start reading all the books that I own that I've never read. So I'll probably return to that at some point. But these are funny, and they're all connected. Like, there'll be the couple in this one, and then it's, I think her brother is the next one on the, I don't know. I can't remember how it goes, but I don't know. It's been a while since I read these. I can't remember which order they are in, but they're just fun. They build on each other, but it's a world where vampires are there and they don't know, but they have like soulmates and things like that. And they're always a mystery. They're always funny, goofy. People are falling all over the place and doing stupid things. They're hilarious. And of course, I'm going to bring up Milla Sing. So again, she has a lot of different series. She has her contemporaries. My favorite are the ones, again, they mostly these ones take place, the ones that take place in Australia are my favorites. And like Rock Hard and Cherish Hard and Rebel Hard are all my favorites so far. I have loved Hard, love to read on that. But there's like mixed in with some, like a rock group, and then this is a CEO and his new secretary, and I just love this book. It's one of my favorites of all time of hers, and I've read that so many times. So I had to buy a physical copy. I've read it on ebook a lot, but I don't really read a lot of ebooks, so I finally just let myself buy the physical copy. And then of course her series, her Archangel or the Guild Hunters series. These are just the first ones that I read by her, and this first series I fell in love with her on. So this was more, this is a place where there are archangels, angels, vampires, and then there are some humans who are able to send out vampires, and so they are very sensitive to that, and Elena is one of them. And then it's her story, and again, then there are multiple books that are just about her and her love interest, and then there's books in between that are people in their friend group you know, and their love story. It's just, I love this series. I love all the characters, you know, and it's just, this is the one with more action adventure, I think, than all of them of her stuff. And I love those. And then there's the Sigh Changing series, which is, I think this is book, is it 18? I can never remember. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is 18. I think the 19th book is coming out soon. These are by far my favorite. If I just, like, again, this is also you know, paranormal, so there's shifters, psychics, and regular humans, and they're all vying for power. And it's, again, it's like, you know, it's like 18 books long right now. It's a great series if you want something to deep dive into. And again, I pick out books that I like to reread. I don't read them in order. I can, but I just don't. I really want to get Audible Escape just so I can listen to doing audio and see how I like that. Because I listened to one of these on audio just last month, I think, and I really enjoyed it. And I had that, you know, I had that audio book forever, and I just accidentally clicked on it, so I really like that. And then just really quick, a couple of classics that I have to put out there that are books that I have reread, and I really enjoyed revisiting these classics. First of all is Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. I've read this at least 4 times since my teens, and, you know, I'm trying to continue on with the D'Artagnan romances series. I'm just very slow at getting to them. I guess because I know there's only so many. But I love this book. It makes me laugh every time I read it. It's always, I forget how it goes. Like, I forget how different it is from every movie adaptation I've ever seen. So it's just a fun romp. D'Artagnan, and then Athos and Porthos and you know, the other one. I can't say his name right now. Armistice, and I can't say that right now. Anyway, I just love this. And so I totally, if you want something to, again, deep dive in, but I love that. I love that. And North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell is becoming a new favorite. I read this about less than 2 years ago. I read it the first time, loved it. And then I listened to this on audio just at the end of the last year, and loved it again. And I will definitely probably put this on a 1 to 2 year kind of reread kind of thing. It was just so good. I just love this story. And again, it's about a family who goes from the rural South to the industrial North, and their conflicts of how life is different there, and the people that they meet. I love that book. And my last are Jane Austen. So I really like Jane Austen. I did my papers in college on Jane Austen, you know. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book of all time. I have reread this I don't know how many times. Now, I had not read it too often until like the last couple of years, just due to my life shifting things. And so it was so nice last year when I read it, and I really want to reread it again this year. I'm thinking about getting an audiobook of this. I don't have one yet, so if you have a recommendation of the narrator, let me know. And then Persuasion, I reread for the first time probably in about 6 or 7 years last year, and it was so amazing again to get to that. So I definitely, but I've read them when I was in my 20s. I read them several times alone. I mean, I read this in my teens, but I meant, like, I had read this probably about, I don't know, probably every year through college, and then into my 20s. And then this one I'd picked up in my 20s and college when I finally got to this one. And I read it a lot. And then my 30s, I think it kind of started spacing them out more. And then, you know, now it's just, I haven't read them enough. And, I just reread them. And these, again, are such comfort reads because, again, it's traveling to another time. It's talking about social questions of things. And also, again, the love stories are just part of that. But it's not the main part. It's the whole world, the characters, their families, and all the people that they meet and things that happen. And again, I love them. Anyway, so this is way longer than I planned it to be, but those are a lot of the books that I like to reread at any time. I have many other books that I pick up to reread, but these are the ones, the series and standalones that I pick up that call to me all the time to reread, and I have to fight myself not to do it all the time. Although right now, yes, I am going to be picking up the India fan. Probably right after this. So anyway, let me know, is there any series or books that you always pick up as rereads, like every year or every other year, or, you know, like, are there ones that you're drawn to, a certain kind? I mean, I'm all over because again, I don't know. I don't think there's a certain theme here. It really is a lot of different kind of books. I have an emotional attachment to all of them for different reasons, and that is why I like to reread them. And that's why those books that I keep to reread, I reread more often than once usually. So anyway, let me know if any of these are your favorites. I'd like to know that too. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.